Hello everyone, welcome to the third video session of your poem We Are the Music Makers, written by Arthur William Edgar O'Shaughnessy. This poem is basically an ode. It is dedicated to all sorts of artists, especially the poets and the musicians. Like an ode, the subject matter of this poem is very serious because it pinpoints at the fact that though all the artists are considered as an escapist, but they play a very important role in the society. They are considered as movers and shakers. Movers and shakers are in the sense means because they can shake the foundation of an empire. They can bring an empire to its downfall, and they are the ones who can raise an empire, who can polish its glory, and they can push the society at the path of progress. So these are the artists who create and give birth or produce new ideas and creativity. Actually, the poets or the artists or the musician, they do not bring them into action, but they inspire people to realize their dreams. So in this way, they are called the dreamers of the dreams. But some of the people, they do not agree with this view because they consider all these artists as the escapist only. But this is not true. So let's see now the third paragraph. The poet has given us a very beautiful examples that art is art for art's sake. Means here the poet is telling us about the timelessness of an art, how the art is eternal. So let's read the third paragraph and try to understand this. The third stanza of the poem contains an allusion. So let me clear what allusion is. Allusion means an indirect reference of something that is supposed to be known. Means here the poet used an allusion from the Bible. He took a hint from the Bible to give us a reference of Nineveh and Babel. These are two cities which are mentioned in the Bible. Here the poet uses the names of these two cities to make you understand the value of artists. Okay, so before understanding the paragraphs line to line, I would like to tell you clear these 2 points, Nineveh and Babel. So first of all, I would tell you what Nineveh is. Nineveh was the ancient flourishing capital of Assyrian Empire. Okay, it was founded by Nimrod. To build this city, this magnificent city, a large number of slaves were tortured and they were brought to death to build this city. So at the height of its glory, the city of Nineveh earned a lot of reputation. It earned a lot of reputation, and the people started calling it a city of sin because the lower classes people were downtrodden and they were tortured. So the God commanded a prophet. There was a prophet named Jonah. The God commanded him to go to that city and preach the people the path of goodness and give them some good values, good virtues. Okay, but the prophet Jonah had refused to go and preach there, even after being commanded to do so by God. So the city was ultimately destroyed because it invited the wrath of God. The God got so angry that it ultimately destroyed the city in 1612 BCE, and this city was never rebuilt. Okay, so let's talk about Babel now. Babel refers to the city of Babylon and the Tower of Babel, you can say. So literally, if we see, the Babel means a confusion. So the citizens of Babel, under the leadership of Nimrod, decided to build a tower that would be so high that it would reach heaven. Okay, they did this because they wanted to prove that they are non-dependence on God and to proclaim their equality with Him. They wanted to be equal to God. They wanted to prove in front of Him that they are non-dependent on Him. Okay, so this is why God, again, these people invited the wrath, the anger of God. So God punished them. So how they were punished? They were punished by giving them different languages. Okay, means they were talking with each other while creating, while building up that Tower of Babel. Means they were talking, enjoying, in enthusiasm, they were building that tower. Then what God did, He confused their languages. Now every person was speaking in different tongues, and this is why they were incomprehensible to each other. Means they could no longer communicate with each other or rebuild the tower. The tower was never rebuilt, it was destroyed. Okay, I hope this Nineveh and Babel are understood properly. Stanza 3, first 4 lines. We, in the ages lying in the buried past of the earth, built Nineveh with our sighing, and Babel itself with our mirth. So here, we means the artists, all the artists. In the ages lying means the ages that are past, means past ages which are already past, okay, which are no more with us. In the buried past of the earth. Here the poet wants to tell us that artists have always been at work. From the past ages till present, they always been at work in sometimes inspiring the society and bringing about change even the years gone by. That is the past ages. So the evidences of which are now buried in the earth. The evidences of their creativity, of their inspiration, and their changes which they brought about in the society are buried in the past. Okay, buried in the earth. So these evidences, one you can take that biblical city of Nineveh, which I have already explained, and the town of Babel. Okay, so the magnificent city of Nineveh. So see, here it is written, built Nineveh with our sighing, and Babel itself with our mirth. So sighing means the tortures, okay, the tortures or the sorrow of the artists. Mirth means the enthusiasm, happiness, joy. Okay, so here he wants to say the magnificent cities of Nineveh, which is now lying in ruins, which is buried past. Now it's no more with us. Okay, it is buried. It is now our past. It is in ruins now. Was built out of the sighing of the artists. Means the tortures that the slaves and the artisans have to undergo in order to build this city. Okay, on the other hand, you can say the Tower of Babel was built with the spirit of enjoy. So Nineveh was built with the tortures, with the sighing of with the sobs and sighings, sorrows of the artisans or the slaves. But on the other hand, that Babel was built with the spirit of joy. But the people of Babel decided to build the tower that would touch the heaven. Okay, they began the task with enthusiasm, with mirth. Okay, so the stories of, here the poet wants to say that the stories of Nineveh and Babel are just endured in the minds of people, and even though the cities have been destroyed already, these cities are no more with us, but still these cities, the names of these cities, the memories of these cities are still endured. Still they have a shape, they have a mark on it's already imprinted in the minds of the people. Okay, so the people can never forget about these cities. So here the power of the artists is shown, that their power is almost divine. Okay, let's read the next 4 lines. And overthrew them with the professing, and to old of the new world's worth. For each age is a dream that is dying, or one that is coming to birth. To overthrow them with the professing. What is professing here? Prophecy means prediction. Okay, telling something beforehand. So here the poet says that after creating such glory, after creating their piece of art, the artists also can deconstruct. Overthrow means deconstruct or pull them down with their prophecies. That is their vision and plan for a new world. To overthrow them with professing to the old of the new world's worth means if they have planned to create something new, they can destroy the old one. Okay, the artists, when the artists were not satisfied nearly after creating the magnificent cities or any piece of art, okay, if then he feels an irresistible urge to do so. Means after each creation, he wants to move on to the new one. So, art is undoubtedly, we can say, it is immortal and lives in all its glory. But the artists, because artist always abhors stagnation, abhors, hates, they do not like to stay at one place, they do not like stagnation, they begins another masterpiece immediately. So it is very crucial for the artist to do this, because only then the world will be able to move forward and for its better future. So that monotonous or the stagnation is not liked by the artist. So to create the new world, to create, to give, to accomplish their new plans, they can pull down the previous ones by prophesying, by predicting it, by telling others. Okay, so for each age, here he say, for each age is a dream that is dying and one that is coming to birth. Here the poet shows us that art is immortal. How? That because artists have the responsibility of staying at the driver's seat all the time, because each age is a dream that is dying, we know. Okay, that never each age means every period, every time is dying, is passing, it will never stand still. So artists have recognized this. So artist knows this, because this common man feels that this world is true and this is permanent, but it is only felt by the artist that this world is fleeting like a, this world or this time is fleeting like a dream. So they know, here it is, he says that because this is the artist only who knows that all one who are coming to birth, this world is perpetual, okay, or mortal. Whatever is created will decay and at the same time giving. But see the last line, one that is coming to earth. If the previous one is decayed, if the previous one is dying, it is giving birth to the newer possibilities, newer creations and newer hopes. Artists are the ones who recognize this and work with it. So he mean to say that they themselves can create myths, they themselves can create the piece of art or the magnificent cities, or okay, they have their own plans and they can create, they can bring into them, bring them into action, and they themselves can pull them down. But there will always be new artists, new myths, because art is immortal, art is timeless, so art is continuous. So if the art is continuous, means all the myths and dreams will never die. So I hope this poem is understood. If in case you have any problem regarding any line, feel free to contact me at any time, and the related notes will be shared with you very soon. So for the time, bye bye now.